The Frank Center provides all kinds of programming for students, from guest speakers to workshops to experiential learning for students in the journalism department and across the College of Media. The Frank Center was established in 2020 after a generous donation from Richard and Leslie Frank. Rich Frank is an alum of the University of Illinois and a former president of Disney Studios, and his wife Leslie is an Emmy award-winning former local news anchor. So as director of the Frank Center, I get the privilege of designing the programming for our students throughout the academic year. So I meet alumni and invite guest speakers to campus. We design workshops with faculty and create experiential learning opportunities for our students both here in Illinois and beyond. I really think about the Frank Center as an opportunity for students to learn new skills beyond the classroom. So we're really here to supplement what they're learning from their professors and perhaps in their internships, and we want to provide opportunities for them to learn additional skills and expertise that they can use both in the classroom and then as they move on to their professional lives. So some of the skills that students have been able to learn about through these Frank Center workshops include hands-on camera work, developing their interviewing skills as journalists out in the field, and learning about AI tools that can be used in both reporting and in media more broadly. Spring break of 2025, we had an incredible opportunity to take a trip to Washington, D.C. and go visit news organizations and government institutions that are covered by journalists in the Beltway. And so we took 8 students to Washington and visited all kinds of places like Capitol Hill, the Supreme Court. We saw journalists at the Wall Street Journal, Politico, NPR, Albritton Journalism Institute, NBC News, and MSNBC, among others. It was pretty exciting, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for both the students and for me as well. So Frank Center guest speakers have been a variety of media practitioners, from local news reporters to national to international news experts. And what they all have in common is they've got great experience in their profession and are an inspiration to our students for their ability to interview or report or trove data, really create some kind of groundbreaking work that will be a great model for our students. There have been so many incredible moments that students have experienced with our guest speakers over the past few years, but one in particular was a moment with Chuck Todd, where he told students in his parting words one evening that it is absolutely the best time to get into journalism right now, and to not be afraid to jump in the water because the water is warm. And several students afterwards have come up to me and spoken to me about how much that meant to them, that in a time with such incredible changes in the media landscape, that hearing those welcoming words from Chuck Todd really gave them the boost they needed to feel confident in their career choice. We've been lucky to have a lot of alumni come back virtually and in person to join us. So everyone from Dan Balls of the Washington Post to sports writer Will Leach, to Eli Murray, who won a Pulitzer Prize with Tampa Bay Times just a few years after graduating. We've had Cheryl Whitlow Thompson from NPR and Maria Inés Zamudio from the Invisible Institute. And we've had a lot of other big names join us as well. So everyone from Brian Williams to Steve Kornacki to Kara Swisher, Michael Steele, Chuck Todd, David Chalian, Vivian Salama, Domenico Montanaro. We've had a great lineup, and they just keep coming. I can't wait to see who's next.
The Ebert Center was launched in 2022 thanks to a collection of donors inspired by a lead gift from Roger and Chaz Ebert. When the center was established, the main mission was to support mostly scholarly events. For example, the Ebert Lecture, which is in the fall every year, and the Ebert Symposium, which is in the spring every year. However, we also host free screenings at the Spurlock Museum in the night auditorium at the Spurlock Museum several every semester, and they run the gamut from, the screenings run the gamut from something very popular like Alien Romulus or Sinners, to something more, to things that are a bit more niche in their interest, we might say. It fosters a communal experience in film studies that is getting rarer and rarer these days. So that students and the community can see films together, and when I've been at these screenings, they've been very responsive to the movies, which is really exciting. So they're responding as a group to the films. The one that was most surprising for me, that the turnout was so great, was the Japanese paper print event. The groups from Bucknell University were showing animation from the 1920s and 30s from Japan, and we had like over 100 people show up for that event, and it was a musical event as well, so there was live music, people playing the koto and the cello. Ebert Fellows has been going on for I think 10 plus years now, even before the Ebert Center was established. And they have historically been mentored by Michael Phillips, the former critic for the Chicago Tribune. So he mentors them in writing about film specifically, but also other arts, and takes them to events like the True False Film Festival, Documentary Film Festival in Missouri, and other kinds of events. In the spirit of Roger Ebert, who was someone who was really invested in cinema as a communal experience, as a and also a kind of transformative experience that it is often he is often quoted as saying that cinema was an empathy machine. And one of the things that the communal aspect of cinema, when we watch a movie together for these screenings, like Sinners, for example, to have that experience together and respond to it as a group is not just, it's much more powerful than if you're just watching it at home or watching it on your phone, which is not how Ryan Coogler wants you to watch Sinners for sure, but that you're having this powerful moment where you're experiencing, in the case of Sinners, not just cinema history, but African American history, and again, kind of being transformed by this moment by experiencing it together. And it's a way also to kind of experience other perspectives together for a while as well. And I think that that's a huge part of Roger Ebert's legacy.